Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of The Letter! Last time, group had a little argument, but to be fair, they've been pretty strong. They can have a little argument or two. It was basically a pointless one, just a blame game, but it happens. Ashton kind of calmed them down and we got a safe place to sleep for a while thanks to Ashton's relationship with G, who, you know, he confided into, but obviously G didn't believe in the curse, which is a natural response. So far Zachary and Ashton are good now. Tension dropped. We'll have to see how Rebecca and Isabella are doing, but we're discussing our game plan because, you know, we need to solve some shit or we're just gonna die from Kyoko. So yeah, let's get started.
I'm gonna look into it tonight.
It doesn't take him long to put two and two together, and his calm expression abruptly dissolves to worry, the second he realizes what I meant. We've already examined the letter, read through piles of documents. There's really only one we haven't given a once-over. The mansion. That's where we'll find Marianne. Of course, Zach may not be the kind to push, but that doesn't mean he agrees with everything that comes out of my mouth. It's his way of keeping me steady and on my feet through the years.
Hold on, didn't you tell me not to go in there? Whatever happened to stay away from Luke Wright?
Situations change, man.
You're an unarmed civilian, Zach.
And so?
So, I want you to stay here and keep yourself safe. I probably won't take too long, but I don't know what might happen. I'm not even sure if I'll find something in there. G will keep an eye on you guys. If you need anything, that woman shows up, just holler. He'll help out, no questions asked. You don't even need to explain anything.
I don't know what G's trying to do against Kyoko, but who knows. He's not willing to concede, not from the manner he grips his knees or the rigid set to his jaw.
I'm going with you. You can't go in there alone, Ash. I heard something.
Yeah, she was singing.
The morning I was there, I heard someone scream and then...
Oh, wait!
Then there was a woman crying.
Wait, no, that is Kyoko. I was trying to say maybe that's Marianne. But no, that's Kyoko. Unless she was crying in the cellar. Because maybe Hana heard Marianne? No, but it was like spooky crying, so never mind. It's just a bait.
I don't know what's going on inside that mansion, but I am telling you, you shouldn't face whatever's inside alone.
If they give us an option, I'm going with everyone. Just saying. Before I can stop myself, a heavy breath escapes from my mouth. It's one of these times again, where Zach means well, but he's completely missing the point I'm trying to make. It is easier to sneak around as one person. When things take a turn for this, when he gets in a mood like this, he's almost as headstrong as Isabella. How and where do I even start? You'll only get in the way, or I'd feel better if I don't have to worry about you. It's honestly the second one, right? Plus, yeah, I'm a master, dude. We're nailing Ashton's route while we were kind of failing in Rebecca's and Marianne's. Me and Ashton just click, bro. There are only two ways this will end. I agree with him and take him with me, or I agree with him and drop the idea altogether. Neither appeals more than the other, especially when we're all desperate for answers and a way out. If all it'll take is a little more honesty to make him drop the hair-brained idea, so be it.
Look, man. Bro. Z-Man. Zach. Zachary, listen.
Stop. That was cringe.
I know you only want to help.
Like hell! This ain't just about helping, Ashton! You're throwing yourself in the thick of it, on your own!
Bro, that's an angry Zach. I don't think I've heard him yell that hard.
Was your fall last night really that bad? Did you hit your head hard? I honestly can't tell if you've gone stupid or just plain suicidal.
My head's okay, Zach. But it won't stay that way if we don't do anything about this. Someone has to.
You all can do it. Seriously, this is already a desperate move. The longer we dally, the faster we're losing our options. Do we even have one? Looking back at it, this whole business with the ghost seems perfectly set up to drive us into a corner. Either until we lose our mind or she gets us. It's starting to feel feel as if there isn't an escape. We've already become her playthings the second Isabella found that letter. That our lives are in her hands tips me off big time, but the idea of watching the people I care about die helplessly? More so. They're much safer here than with me. It's a selfish thought, I know, born out of fear. So, in case things go awry, the very last thing I want to happen is for Zach to take the fall with me. I've already made enough mistakes.
And that means it's just you.
Just me.
Suddenly, he clams up. Although his actions, the restless shift in his shoulders, his mouth pressing close in a tight line, and how he starts off again in a quiet note. It outlives his real thoughts long before 2 words have even made it out of his mouth.
I'm sure you already know about this. Maybe this is you trying to make amends, or whatever. I don't know. You're making your own decisions here. But if something happens to you, it'll be just that. You'll just be another dead body out there. Please, don't do something like this.
Don't worry. I'm not stupid enough to get myself killed.
I might be stupid enough, though, to get you killed.
I just want things to go back to normal, Zach.
Another dead air follows at the heels of that one admission. The meaning of my words too heavy, too striking. It sends us into another lull. Optimism aside, we're both aware that's impossible. We're going to have to deal with the trauma right after. There will be images, the voices whispering inside our heads, the foreboding feeling. The stench of blood, gore, and death trailing after us. We may survive this, but those things? They will remain in us for a long time. One does not survive something like this without it leaving something in you. Just the mere thought of what might come right after makes me dread it. What this has changed in all of us. But I suppose that outcome is more acceptable, the lesser of two evils.
3 hours.
Yeah. My head snaps up and I turn to him puzzled. He's staring at his hands with a thoughtful expression, brows furrowed in deep concentration. Like he's trying to choose the right words to convey what he's about to say.
3 hours? For what?
It's your time limit.
That's more than enough time to go there, to check
Oh,
things.
man.
Like you said, travel back here.
Okay, 3 hours in total.
If you don't show up here beyond that, I'm going after you.
From his tone, it almost sounds like a warning. I'm sure it's not his intention. But hearing something like that from a person like Zach, I can't help but chuckle and throw a jibe, despite how dire things are. Just like the old times.
Make that 4.
What? You said you're just gonna check things.
Thoroughly check things.
Why would you even need that long?
Speed limit?
Okay, dude.
I'm a ranked law enforcement officer, Zach. I'm supposed to set an example.
Good memes.
I so wanna punch you right now.
How do you even sigh like that, man? That was like a phlegmy sigh. No. Wait, I want to hear it again. It sounded weird to me. Yeah, what the heck is that?
So wanna punch you right now.
Insane. Of course, Zach never carries it out. In light moments like this, it's just how he is, how we are. Unfortunately, G chooses the next moment to show up. He slams the flat of his palm on the counter, shooting us both a stern look. Although his tone is nothing short of jovial, the disapproval is clear in it. He's obviously misunderstanding the situation.
Boys, Thomas nice and all. I used to watch these bloody god-awful afternoon serials with one of my brothers many, many years ago.
Hey, cereals are great.
But listen, I am not having one in my pub, alright? You two want to fight? Go out.
We're chilling. A pregnant pause. Then, without any preamble, Zach and I are both snickering, and G's lower melts into confusion. When we both show no signs of stopping, he simply shakes his head and turns away. Thanks, G. New journal, early in the morning. And by morning, I mean 1 a.m. Zat's arrival interrupted Ashton's conversation with the G. Left alone, the two attempted to mend things between them, only for things to almost turn sour after Ashton revealed his plans to return to the mansion. His friend eventually acquitted after Ashton agreed to a time limit. I bet we would actually be really fighting maybe if we didn't choose the nice option. Anyways, I like to think it's better this way. Better that we part on light terms so Zach won't have to see every little insecurity, every little doubt in me right now. He's seen enough. The last thing I want him to glimpse is another display of weakness. Not when he still stares at me with the same unerring confidence in his eyes. When our mirth dies down, before anything can be said further, before I change my mind, I step away from them. Giving Zat's shoulder a few quick pats, mumbling a lame excuse about taking another short nap under my breath. Although burying the stray through the flashes fleeting in my head. Thought that flashes. Okay. Blah. Zat has seen me at my lowest plenty of times. Why does all of it matter now? What? I'm a little confused. Let me reread this. Although altogether bearing that stray thought that flashes fleetingly in my mind, Zat has seen me at my lowest plenty of times. Why does all of it matter now? I don't get it. Because it's a dire situation? Because you think you might not come back alive? Something like that, maybe? The sun hangs lower when I stumble back into consciousness and drag myself downstairs. Around this time, the patrons usually start to trickle into the main lounge until it reaches a peak around midnight. Today, however, it remains thin. It's lucky. But considering what day it isn't too worrisome for the kind of business G runs. He always complained about the lack of a decent crowd on a week start, although he doesn't really begrudge his customers for it. No one wants to start the week with a bad case of a hangover, after all, even him. Which makes the concerned look he gives me come off a bit too odd. With the kind of danger we're in, this swiftly puts me on the edge, even before sleep completely fades from my mind.
Something wrong, G?
Did you see Kyoko? G hums, but there's an undertone of annoyance in it despite his casual and open movements. And only after he finishes wiping a tumbler and carefully settles it face down on the table does he give me an answer. The way he stares back at me honestly makes me squirm. It feels like I'm being stared down by my primary school teacher for sleeping in class again.
Nothing much. Monday's still a slow day for this place. But you might want to check on your friends, kid. Looks like one of them woke up on the wrong side of the bed while you were out.
Wait, did we come back already? I'm confused. Did we time skip? Or no, we took a short nap. Right? Okay, so we take a short nap before heading out again. Alright. Another question forms in my head along with a small confused frown. Though before a single syllable slips past my mouth, Rebecca's irate voice rings out from some part of the main lounge. From the sound of it, it appears woke up on the wrong side of the bed is a complete understatement.
Alone? You know we can't just go in there.
Rebecca's feeling prickly, as always.
But we don't have any other choice.
Jesus.
There's really no other way. We have to go there. If you'll just...
Bro, I hate Isabella's freaking angry sprite. It's so cursed.
Isabella? No.
That doesn't sound too comforting. Once Rebecca assumes that kind of tone in an argument with Isabella, it usually ends with one of them walking out, or both giving the other the silent treatment. It lasts for about a week at most if it's really bad, which really isn't what we need right now. I've hoped the bad blood from this morning will simply blow over after all of us has gotten a decent rest. I should have expected things won't be the same with them as it is with Zach and I. They don't got the bromance. Turns out sleep isn't just what some of us need. Even G appears to understand it. In spite of his efforts to look as unconcerned as possible, there's a tense set on his shoulders. A nervous edge lingers in his eyes, as it occasionally filters over where Rebecca and Isabella's voices are coming from. He doesn't want to deal with this, especially at the start of another busy week. Don't worry, we got you, G. We'll deal with it. Neither do I. Things have worked out well because between them before, without Zachary meddling. But the imploring gaze G directs at me leaves me with no other choice. It almost feels like he's guilting me into doing something about it. I hate that it's working.
You know how I run this pub, kid. No fist fights, no cat fights, only good booze, bad puns, and off-key singing.
Sounds like a good time.
Go fix it before it blows up in your faces. I'd hate to throw two girls out of this place over a petty argument.
It's probably not as petty if Rebecca's already shouting like that, but I give him a nod nevertheless.
Sorry about this, G.
He hums something under his breath for an answer and waves me off, turning away, returning to his work without another word. Even with the lack of a sizable crowd, he likes to keep busy. We're same in that regard. Can't remain still, always has to stay moving, doing something, thinking, whatever keeps the brain at work. I leave him to it shortly after. Rebecca's voice rings out once again, followed by Isabella's. But part of me wants to thank him for all the troubles he has taken for people he barely even know. Once this is over, I should probably find some way. In the meantime, I have this immediate problem to fix. Gotta get to this before it turns into a shitstorm both of them will regret. And I know both of them will. For all of Isabella's complaints about Rebecca's bossy attitude, or how annoying Rebecca sometimes finds the other's childlike demeanor. It's a friendship they both cherish in their own way. Oh no, the battle music though. Rebecca's already on her feet when they spot them in an almost deserted area of the pub. It's really good argument music. This, music all screams their tones, right? This actually perfectly screams argument music to me. I know it sounds like really tense, but I don't think it would fit as good in another setting. You know, it worked with the Rochelle, it worked with the group argument. It's a good choice. Good composition, I should say. Rebecca's already on her feet when I spot them in an almost deserted area of the pub. I'm willing to bet my entire life savings that the people are staying away only because of the brewing storm. Rebecca can have quite the mood when she's crossed. I can't speak for Isabella, I rarely even see her seething, but from what I've heard, it can be very unpleasant. The way she is glaring up at the redhead from her seat, regardless of how much the other woman towers over her right now, already says something. Even the dinner. Empty plates have been left neatly piled on one corner of the table they occupy, a conversation that turns sour sometime after a late lunch then. At least they ate the lunch. Good thing they're already done and nothing left to be spilled. Jesus. Because in the next moment, before I approach and intervene, Rebecca slams her palm on the table. It sends the silver clinking sharply against the surface. Isabella flinches momentarily. We both do, though she shows no indication of surrendering in the face of Rebecca's temper. Everything escalates from there.
You've already gotten us in enough trouble because of this
Uh-huh.
let a ghost everything. You're blaming me again.
Yep.
You can't expect everyone to fix your mess. You keep on putting the blame on me, but you're the one who didn't listen. All of you. If you just listened in the first place, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But you're too busy acting like you know what's best for everyone, when in fact you're the one who's being selfish. I'm the one who's selfish. Yet you're still going to do what you want anyway, even if the people around you are already beside themselves with worry. This is how you've always acted since we met, and I'm tired
no.
of it. Sometimes I wish you never even came here, because all you've given us is a headache.
Jesus, calm down. They have a decent relationship too going on. Above when we started.
You know why I haven't come here. My dad. Your dad has nothing to do with this. It has always been you and your whiny, careless self that has always been the problem.
Feel like Rebecca's better at arguments. Maybe 'cause she's a teacher. Maybe I should have stepped in earlier. Maybe I should have said something the moment Rebecca had slammed the flat of her hand on the table or the second I've entered the area. Either way, it's too late to act. Harsh words have already been hurled between the two. Slow shooter. Unlucky. Again. When Ashton showed up to the pub's main lounge again, he caught Rebecca and Isabel in the middle of an argument. The latter insisted on going back to the mansion, which the former strongly opposed. However, before Ashton could step in, harsh words had already been said. Words more cutting than any blade, each and every one of them digging a wound too deep in the person they've aimed at. For a long time, Isabella sits there in silence while Rebecca stands unmoving, arms crossed and breathing heavy. Despite the latter words between them, they're both vibrating with anger, refusing to meet the other's eye. Ever so slowly, the atmosphere in the room turns thick and smothering. A strained air no one in the immediate vicinity, including me, dares to break until the ones at the center does so. Rebecca definitely won't. At some point in our friendship, she has grown to become a woman firm with her opinions. She's never going to back down from this, not when she knows she has a point. Isabella, on the other hand, there has always been a certain stubbornness in her. As frustrating as it is to see sometimes, it has gotten her through life's hardships. Perhaps even the only thing that has. When you have nothing else, people tend to cling on to what they have within themselves instead. But she also knows when to withdraw, when a struggle turns useless, a kind awareness, almost second nature to her. When enough is enough, Isabella abruptly stands and marches towards the exit, in a fast, rigid steps away from the hurt and painful words they've let fly earlier. She bumps into me in her haste, the impact nearly knocking her off her feet. Instant kissing in the last moment, and I reach out for her, grabbing her arm in a steadying grip. She flits across her face. Surprise flits across her face. That is a flits. An expression mirrored by Rebecca behind her. Neither of them had noticed me. Oh no. I don't want to screw. Ah, fuck. No, don't make me. I like Rebecca. So Rebecca wants Isabella to stay. We kind of want her to stay too, though, to be honest. Also, Isabella's dad died, so maybe you should just take her side, and I'm still kind of shipping them. Or whatever. I don't know what to choose. This is a hard one, actually. Because both of these will make the other person angry, to be honest. Whatever, I'll just go Isabella.
You okay?
Oh no! Hey, we matched it. Based. Sorry, Rebecca. I'll try to fix it later. Rather than an answer, once her shock subsides, she merely averts her gaze and hastily wipes the tears off her cheeks that she only noticed them in that moment. Sorry, Prickly. It's done. Maybe next playthrough. Then, without another word or even meeting my eyes again, she gently brushes away my hand and runs off, leaving an awkward hush in her wake. Rebecca soon slumps on the chair Isabella has just left, gingerly reaching up to press the bridge of her nose and breathing out a ragged exhale. Arguments like this have always drained both her patience and energy, usually more than her rowdy students do, despite being no stranger to it. It's no excuse for her to say those things, though, and my disapproval must be clear enough on my face. When she finally glances back at me, her exhaustion immediately shifts back to annoyance, her mouth curving down to a tight frown. Oh no, round two. I cross my arms in response, waiting, a reaction verging on instinctive in the face of her irritation. Regardless of my opinions about this, I don't say anything yet, not until she's the one willing to talk. Another minute passes while we stare each other down. It's awkward. But eventually she reaches out again and reflexes her rigid posture.
What do you want, Ash? If you have something to say, just tell me, or I'm going back upstairs.
Did you really have to say it like that?
Well, how do you want me to answer her? Do you want me to just let her go there and do what she wants?
To be fair, Rebecca was being kind of a bitch. She's still blaming Isabella, which is technically right, but it's just Ron going to it. I don't know, they're both wrong, but I'm shipping Isabella with Ashton, so it had to be done.
I know you won't be too happy if I did that.
That's a low blow, Rebecca. For you. We all know she wasn't even planning on staying here this long. There was no need to bring it up if all you wanted to do is stop her.
Did you even see how she's acting? She's not a child anymore. Even my students can do better.
Becca, she'll listen if you'll just ask her properly.
True. Stop being so prickly.
I know you mean well and you do have a point, but please be a little more thoughtful next time. Go think about it for a while.
By some miracle, the whole discussion ends right there. It's one way to... Dude, that's so... I don't... You know, I'm not Rebecca, but I would be fuming if someone said that to me. Go think about it for a while. I just hate how that's phrased. Rebecca elects to stay silent, or at least, it's how it seems when a minute or two passes and she says nothing. A rare occurrence when she almost has something... when she almost always has something on her mind. Only an uneasy atmosphere hangs in the air when I finally decide to remove myself from the room. She doesn't stop me. Instead, something inexplicable flickers momentarily in her eyes, one that quickly disappears until only a vague notion of it remains in memory. But in the one exchange, I've caught a short, clear glimpse of what has shifted, of what's inevitable. So much has changed throughout the years. We will never be the same person we once were. And if it's for the better, we've yet to know. Rip. If I can build back the relationship, I will try. A lull has descended in the main lounge once I return. G's nowhere to be seen, people continue to trickle outside instead of in, and by the time I get back, only 2 tables remained occupied. Soon these people too will be gone and the whole place will be devoid of anyone. Frankly, its current state already lends the place an entirely different vibe. Along with the soothing strum of the strings and the steady beat of the drums playing overhead, there's a calming sense to this. A far cry from times I've been here before. And perhaps it's for this reason why Isabella has chosen this place to retreat. She sits quietly in the furthest corner of the room, and one of the tables set right beside the windows. She usually keeps the curtains closed around this hour, but a small portion of it has been pulled back, revealing the busy street outside. The late afternoon light spills right through it, outlining her small form and pooling on the surface of the table where both of her arms rest. In her hand, she flips a piece of folded paper, turning it from one side to another without any purpose. The letter. A small frown creases her forehead while she stares at it, yet there's something oddly tranquil in the picture she has unknowingly painted. Sometimes I can't bring myself to disturb, if only for a few seconds. It's one of those moments then. The rare ones, the ones where she's too still, too quiet, a complete opposite of her usual self, but it's these that often leave a mark. Not her cheery disposition or her lively attitude, but these short few seconds of wordless silence, when the softest sighs and the slightest movements seem louder. The smallest, minuscule things that tell you about the person and her strength more than any words can express. It's these that carve a vivid memory, no matter how brief it lasts. She glares at me, annoyed, just like that, all of it melts away. Gone is the stillness, replaced quickly by the teasing and friendly jibes. Back again to what we're used to, what's easy, what's familiar, and where every truth we hope to convey regrettably goes unsaid between us.
You're going to destroy an important piece of evidence if you keep doing that, Belle.
But she's far from angry. A bit upset, maybe? Who wouldn't be? While I do agree with Rebecca, her words still hit below the belt. Regardless, Isabella doesn't seem like she'll start shouting at me, at least compared to every other person I've aggravated, intentional or otherwise. Some light talk may just do the trick and coax her out of this mood.
Come on. If you keep staring at the table like that, you're going to bore a hole on it. I really don't want to OG a new table. He'll pick the most expensive one and leave me begging on the streets.
She levels a quick glance at me, her expression dry and impassive, enough to drain every color out of the room. It's as if I've just told her a terrible joke and she's expecting there'll be more of it. Really now. She needs to give me more credit than that. My jokes are funny when I want them to be.
I really don't care. I'd even take pictures and post them online. Go away, Ash. I don't want to talk right now.
Yet, it sounds half-hearted at best. Like what's happening has already sapped every bit of energy in her, and all that's left are the words. Pretty soon, those too will lose their meaning and leave a hollow shell in their wake. It's already unusual to see her like this. Everything has already gone to shit. I'd like at least this one thing to stay normal. So somehow we manage. We continue for the better half of the hour, talking, joking, with her short, feeble responses and banter that never goes anywhere. But it's enough. In the grand scheme of things, amidst the chaos and death shadowing over us, it's these little inconsequential moments that matter. It's her smile, her laughter, when it finally rings easy and free of her burdens.
Okay, I have another one.
I don't want to hear it, Ashton. Go away.
No, really, listen. I know someone who talks like an owl.
Will you leave me alone if I bite and ask who?
You already did. Who? A pause. And then she frowns as realization slowly dawns on her. That was a good one. Very slick. Confusion flashes fleetingly across her face before it eventually settling on a grimace.
Oh.
She suddenly hugs her arms closer to herself and looks away, perhaps in her best attempt to stay angry. To no avail. In a matter of seconds, her shoulders shake with laughter she's trying to contain.
You're awful and I really hate you. Just leave.
It's contagious, her mirth. Soon I'm joining her in it, briefly forgetting every problem that has piled up and continues to weigh down on us. Laughing without reservation or care, until only a familiar warmth lingers, once both our amusement ebbs away. Somehow with her, these things have always come easy.
Feeling better?
A little. You're still lame.
That was a sick joke, even though I saw it coming, but...
But you're laughing right now.
Only because your humor is terrible.
Right. Keep telling yourself that. I know it's funny. And you know what? If you've kept frowning like that, your face might have cracked. That would have been really messy and ugly.
If glares can kill, with the one she sends my way, I'll probably be dead by now. Seeing it directed my way, it only takes a few seconds. Towards seconds for me to realize how she also might have taken my statement. How wrong and rude it might have sounded in her ears, however unintentional it is. I've never been good with words, but that's never an acceptable excuse, is it? Suddenly, taking the brunt of her anger seems less complicated than correcting or explaining myself. Nevertheless, I try.
What? Crap.
I don't...
That was so not what I meant.
I don't think it was that bad, to be honest.
I was just saying you look better when you're smiling.
Good one. Her glare doesn't even wane. In fact, I think it intensified, like the brewing storm. In the face of it, under the sharpness of her stare and her annoyance, I do what any person with a good sense of self-preservation does. I keep my mouth shut and shift my attention somewhere elsewhere. The crowd outside looks very interesting today. Maybe I should...
Thanks, Ash.
She utters all of it in a voice too small, too quiet, but when I turn to her, only those words, her gratitude, resonate throughout the whole room. Not the soft clinking of silverware somewhere, nor the last strains of music fading into silence above us. Instead, it's the meaning behind her glaze, she glazing us, her gaze, as she holds mine that lingers. Steady, unflinching, and open, in the same way she looked at me all those years ago, with bright eyes and an expression softening into a tender smile. I didn't understand it then. How easy it is for her to wear her heart on her sleeve. How she never shies away from expressing herself, even among people she barely knows. How she can go through everything without losing herself. Now it's among the hundreds, the thousands that hang unspoken between us. Trivial little things with worth still too big to put into words. Either because it's too early, or because there's never really been a proper time. For now, though, this'll do. Until the moment itself dwindles. Until reality pulls us back in, reminding us of the things we've set aside in its favor.
Isabella, about what happened with Rebecca earlier.
She didn't have to say that.
A small frown returns to her face, although it lacks the same anger from before, the bitterness stays.
And you don't have to apologize for her. If she wants to say sorry, she has to do it herself.
She has a point, though. Isabella freezes. In an instant, the pleasant air around us dissipates. She shifts her attention back to her hands again, both clenched so tightly that her knuckles visibly pale.
I know, Ash. I just thought we'd find something in there. That if I go back, we'll get the answers we need. I found the letter there, so maybe, right?
It's not that I don't agree with her. Hell, I've been considering the same thing. It's the only lead we have left after all. But Rebecca also has a point I will always agree with. No matter how desperate I am, it's not going to be a simple walk in the park. Who knows what we might find in there. If she comes with me, I won't be able to guarantee her safety. She'll be in even greater danger. Hence, alone. Exactly as I have told Zack. If there's a need to go back to that accursed place, I'm doing it on my own. Whether or not the rest of them agree with the plan is inconsequential. Their well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just about to drag them in there with me. So I tell her as much, despite the determination and desperation in her eyes. Anything to keep her safe. I can't let you do that or it's dangerous. I can't let you do that.
I can't let you do that, Belle.
Yep, plus. We're already matched. We don't even need pluses anymore.
Ash, the people living in that place now. They were with me during the open house. They have to know. They're in as much trouble as we are.
I know, but it's risky. It's dangerous. We don't know what you might find in there. Or if you'll even find anything. What if you see her again? What if she goes after you? What are you going to do? For all we know, it might be a dead end. It's not worth it to put yourself in harm's way like that.
She offers no response, not even a form of resistance. No further argument like I've come to expect from her. Uncharacteristic. Just a silence that stretches far too thin, till the air in the whole room grows heavy. In front of her, her hand stayed curled up, like it's holding onto everything she wishes to say but can't. I like to think that, yes, to some extent she understands. Even if she does not entirely agree with me, the dilemma is clear in her. Otherwise, her scowl wouldn't have a deeper set to it. Her lips wouldn't be pressed in a thin line, or her hand would no longer be balled into fists. She would have pushed that argument. If she doesn't, I know that she has no lack of things to say. Instead, she simply offers a nod. An acquiescence. Or acquiesce? Is that acquiescence? I don't know. And in a moment of boldness, perhaps insolence, I reach out for her, taking her clenched fists in mine and drawing them closer to me. She sets in a breath, soft and sharp, but she doesn't say anything, merely watching as both my hands cradle hers. Cautious, mindful, as if it's the most precious thing I've held. Then again, maybe it is, along with everything I've yet to convey.
Stop that.
Oh, what's happening? Surprisingly, although the gesture has startled her, she yields, allows a touch that is far too familiar, and more than what I'm willing to give most.
You're going to hurt yourself if you keep doing that.
Gently, I unfurl her fingers, flattening out each digit against my palms. Her nails have already created small dents on her skin from how tightly she has held it close. A little more and she would have drawn blood. Deep as it is, smoothing a thumb over the tiny marks does nothing. But it's a small gesture we both find comfort in amidst this chaos, and all at once the tension lifts. Her expression softens, the lines of her shoulders ease, and it is only after her lips curve up in a faint smile that I let go, giving her hand one last squeeze before returning it to her. Part of me wants to tell her, admit that it's exactly what I'm planning tonight. What good will it do, though? I've already told Zach one person is enough. How simply letting someone in on the plan makes me iffy. Broadening that circle and revealing too much would just cause another pointless concern. But someone has to be aware, at least of where I'm heading off to in case things don't pan out. It's about the worst, even if I've only intended to do a quick survey of the place. In my own words, risky. It's best that I simply leave it as it is for now. Isabella doesn't need to be burdened with the worry my entire scheme entails. I stand up as footsteps shuffle from the next room, its cadence slow and hesitant. Shortly, Rebecca comes into view, clutching her hands firmly in front of her and sporting the same uncertainty in her face. She casts me a cursory look, then shifts a nervous one to Isabella, who studies her with an almost hopeful gleam in her eyes. Their fights never did last long.
Belle, can we talk? Alone?
Her interruption could not have come at us soon. Her interruptions could not have come sooner, and I'm all the more glad for it. Whatever kind of friendship I share with the two, this remains something for only the two of them, much like my own with Zach. I'm the outsider, they don't need me here. It's all the reason I need. Muttering an excuse, and flashing Isabella a quick, knowing smile, I beat a hasty exit out of the main lounge and leave them to mend things on their own. New journal. Oops. Oh. It's not going next. I glitched it. I actually glitched the journal. Wait, maybe I can reset it. No, I glitched it. Oh shit. Okay. Well, actually, I guess I'm trying to end there. I was trying to end after reading the journal, but we'll read it next time, I guess. Thank you for watching. Cute episode. The Isabella bar is full. Achievement. Get. Rebecca bar taint. Feel bad about it. I do like Rebecca. Maybe next playthrough we'll try to set them up together. Even though it does seem like Ashton likes Isabella, so it's probably the right choice, but yeah. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. And again, not a spooky episode, but I like these chill ones, you know? A lot of character development, relationship development, and next time I'm sure it might get a little more spooky because we're going to the mansion. But until then, hopefully you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye!